Welcome to the Marine Corps Logistics Base Barstow Natural and Cultural Resources Awareness Briefing. Marine Corps Logistics Base Barstow and the surrounding area are distinguished by a unique combination of natural and cultural resources, which are characteristic of the Western Mojave Desert. Natural and cultural resources are protected by federal and state laws and enforced on United States Marine Corps installations through Marine Corps Order 5090.2 Alpha, Change 3. The Marine Corps has the responsibility to oversee and manage the land we use in a responsible and law-abiding way by complying with all laws and regulations. Our daily operations can significantly impact the environment and the natural and cultural resources aboard the installation. The careful management of the installation's natural and cultural resources will help ensure the protection of sensitive resources and the continued use of our training lands. Natural resources are landforms, soil, water, plant life, wildlife, or any material that occurs naturally. Preservation of the natural environment is important for maintaining and sustaining our communities and training lands. A wide array of wildlife is found on the installation, and you'll encounter wildlife while performing your duties. It is essential that you are familiar with wildlife and your responsibilities to protect them. Some wildlife species that you may encounter while on the installation include desert tortoises, migratory birds, coyotes, kit foxes, bobcats, rodents, small mammals, lizards, snakes, bats, and many different insects. Do not feed any wildlife. Feeding will cause wildlife to become familiar with humans and human waste, and causes unwanted wildlife encounters that can put military personnel and contractors in harm's way. Contact the Environmental Division with any issues or concerns regarding wildlife. The dry, sparse appearance of the installation can be deceiving when considering the diversity of plant and animal species which inhabit the base. At least 145 plant species have been identified on the installation, including the Mojave spineflower and the Mojave monkeyflower. Some of these plant species may be protected by federal and state law. Always contact the Environmental Division prior to removing any vegetation. The Endangered Species Act provides for the conservation of threatened and endangered plants and animals and the habitats in which they are found. The desert tortoise is protected under the Federal Endangered Species Act, as well as state law, and is a known resident species on the installation. Approximately 540 acres of land in the southern portion of the rifle range is formally designated as Desert Tortoise Critical Habitat. However, desert tortoises may be found anywhere across the installation. Do not harm, harass, pursue, hunt, shoot, kill, trap, capture, collect, transport, buy, sell, or trade a desert tortoise. It is illegal and can result in jail time and fines. Such activities are termed a take by the Endangered Species Act. The installation has established procedures that must be followed at all times and by all personnel to avoid harming desert tortoises. Look for desert tortoises under all vehicles before moving when in training range areas. Drive only on designated roads and keep your eyes open for desert tortoises and other wildlife. Follow speed limits and all posted signs, 20 miles per hour on the rifle range. Prevent raven predation. Properly dispose of trash or debris that could attract ravens. Do not feed ravens or leave water running that could attract ravens. If a desert tortoise is found and that desert tortoise is impeding the mission, you must stop all activity in the general location. Do not pick up the tortoise. Contact range control or your supervisor and advise them of why you stopped. Report the sighting to the Environmental Division and wait for guidance. If a desert tortoise is found and that tortoise is in immediate danger, you must approach the animal from the front and slowly pick up the animal carrying it no further than 18 inches above ground. Carry the tortoise in the same direction it was traveling. Place the animal gently on the ground, back away, and leave. Immediately report the incident to the Environmental Division. Remember, no one is authorized to move a desert tortoise unless it is in immediate danger of being harmed. If a desert tortoise is accidentally killed or injured, contact the Environmental Division immediately and wait for guidance. Barstow is home to many resident and migratory birds. Common birds found on the installation include red-tailed hawks, great horned owls, burrowing owls, common raven, roadrunners, turkey vulture, and numerous other birds. Many of these birds are protected by the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act. The Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act protects birds, bird parts, nests, and eggs. If you encounter a bird's nest with eggs or young birds, you must leave it alone and contact the Environmental Division immediately. Military and contractor personnel are authorized to discourage nest building by using bright lights, making loud noises, and disrupting nest building. However, once the nest has been built and eggs are present, it must not be disturbed. There are several different species of venomous and non-venomous snakes found on or around the installation's boundaries. Venomous snakes found in the area include sidewinders and speckled rattlesnakes. Rattlesnakes are not confined to rural areas. They can be found in parks, yards, and near buildings. Be aware that startled rattlesnakes may not rattle before striking defensively. Some common scorpions and spiders found on the installation and in the surrounding area include the giant desert hairy scorpion, which averages about 5 inches in length and is a pale yellow in color. They are active at night, hiding under rocks and other debris during the day. The black widow, which can be identified by the red hourglass marking on the abdomen and black body. They are often found in buildings and wood piles. The desert recluse, which can be identified by the pale violin-shaped marking pointing to the rear of the spider. They vary in color from medium brown to tan, and their bite can be disfiguring if not treated immediately. And tarantulas, which vary in size and have a leg span of 2 to 4 inches. They are brown in color with dense hair on their legs and abdomen. Tarantulas are not aggressive and only bite when provoked. Honeybees are very important pollinators in the desert. The Africanized honeybee and the European honeybee may both be present on the installation, and they are very difficult to tell apart. Africanized honeybees are more dangerous because they are more easily provoked, quick to swarm, attack in greater numbers, and pursue their victims for greater distances. Prevent injury by venomous wildlife or insects. When walking through wild areas or hiking, stick to well-used trails and avoid tall grass, weeds, and heavy underbrush. Wear protective clothing such as long-sleeved shirt, long pants, hat, gloves, and over-the-ankle boots. Do not step or put your hands where you cannot see. Step on logs and rocks, never over them, and be especially careful when climbing rocks or gathering wood. Carefully check stumps, logs, or rocks before sitting down. Do not handle a freshly killed snake. It can still inject venom. Inspect or shake out any clothing, shoes, towels, or equipment before use. Remove and reduce debris and rubble from around outdoor work areas. Keep your tetanus boosters up to date every 10 years. Spider bites can become infected with tetanus spores. Avoid perfumed soaps, shampoos, deodorant, cologne, or perfumes that can attract stinging insects. Keep work areas clean. Some stinging insects and animals are attracted to places where humans discard food. Keep water containers sealed and pay particular attention around water sources. Bees and other stinging insects are attracted to water, so be careful with the water that you take to the field. Remain calm and still if a single stinging insect is flying around you. Swatting at an insect may cause it to sting. Run to get away if you are attacked by several stinging insects at once. Use a shaded area rather than an open area to get away from insects. Carry an epinephrine auto-injector or EpiPen and wear a medical identification bracelet or necklace stating your allergy if you have a history of severe allergic reactions to insect bites or stings. Cultural resources are any prehistoric or historic site, building, structure, place, or object considered important to a culture or community for traditional, religious, or cultural reasons. Cultural resources are typically older than 50 years of age and contribute to our knowledge of history, architecture, archaeology, engineering, and culture. There are many unique and interesting cultural resources located on the installation. Rattlesnake Rock is an archaeological site located on an outcrop of rocks on the installation. The site is listed as a California Point of Historical Interest and is considered very important to American Indian groups local to the area. It consists of multiple petroglyphs in the shape of circles and lines. This style is typical of Great Basin spiritual sites, and it is believed that the Kawayasu or Serrano people created and used the rock art over a long period of time. 3 oval rock alignments are just several of the many archaeological sites on the installation. They are believed to be sleeping circles and are formed by a single layer of small, locally gathered rocks. Examples of artifacts include projectile points, jewelry, pottery, and any objects that show signs of human modifications. Some artifacts, like glass bottles and cans, may just look like trash, but they may be part of a historic site and can help archaeologists learn more about the generations that came before us. These items may be located anywhere on the installation. The historic trail known as the Old Spanish Trail, the Mojave Trail, or the Mormon Trail runs parallel to the Mojave River across portions of the installation. It is believed to be the route taken by Father Francisco Garces in 1776 on his journey from the Colorado River to San Gabriel, and the path taken by Jedediah Smith in 1826. It was also a common route used by trappers and settlers on their way to the Pacific coast. Portions of this trail are eligible for the California Register of Historic Places. It is illegal to collect, deface, remove, destroy, or harm any cultural resources found on the installation and can be punishable by civil and criminal penalties. Do not damage or alter rock art or archaeological sites. If any artifacts, features, or bones are discovered, notify the person in charge and stop all work in a 30 to 50-foot area around the discovery. Immediately notify the Environmental Division and wait for guidance. All personnel conducting training on the range must be familiar with the range standard operating procedure. If you are not provided with a copy, please contact Environmental Operations to obtain a copy. Provide a list of employees with allergies to bee stings or other stinging insects to the officer in charge or the Environmental Division prior to training on the range. Watch for unexploded and training ordnance and be careful not to mistake an old munition such as a grenade for an artifact. Many areas of the installation were training lands, and there is a potential to find dangerous unexploded and training ordnance. Garbage, especially food scraps, will attract wildlife and cause safety and wildlife protection issues. For example, trash attracts ravens, a major predator of the desert tortoise. It is important to limit trash generated and to properly dispose of trash in the appropriate container. If you pack it in, then you must pack it out, and do not leave any trash laying around on the installation. When disposing of trash, remember to recycle. Recycling appropriate items provides the installation with additional funds and helps reduce garbage volume. Always follow these practices to keep our natural and cultural resources protected. Contact Dispatch at 760-577-6020, available 24/7 if you need immediate assistance with a natural or cultural resources issue. Check under parked vehicles for wildlife, particularly desert tortoises. Stay on designated roads and trails and always maintain speed limits, 20 miles per hour on the rifle range. Report desert tortoise sightings to the Environmental Division. Include time, location, size, and marking of the tortoise, as well as your name and phone number. Do not pick up, touch, harm, harass, or quickly approach a desert tortoise. Do not remove a desert tortoise from its habitat. Report to the Environmental Division if a desert tortoise is accidentally killed or injured. Keep the desert clean. Limit the amount of waste generated and properly dispose of trash or debris in the appropriate container. Do not remove vegetation. It degrades the desert environment and causes an increase in soil erosion. Do not feed the wildlife. Contact the Environmental Division if ravens or other wildlife become a problem. Leave artifacts where you find them and notify the Environmental Division of any cultural resources discoveries. Do not disturb or damage archaeology sites, features, or rock art. Thank you for participating in this Natural and Cultural Resources Awareness Briefing. If you have any questions that were not covered, please contact the Environmental Division.